guys, welcome back to Rebekah's Reading Corner. I'm so sorry for my absence lately. I just finished up my fall semester. I'm a junior in college, and the fall semester always kicks my butt. So I didn't really have time for this channel, so for that I really apologize. But today I have a really fun video planned, a little different than the normal like book review stuff. And I always enjoy watching these kinds of videos, so I hope you enjoy this video also. But yeah, let's just get into it. Alright, so I've got a little tier list here. Today we are ranking every fairy tale retelling that I've ever read. Or at least the ones that I remember reading. We got a decent list here. I've got a few books that are from like the same series as each other, but they're like different fairy tales, so they kind of all have their own ranking, we'll say. So, we'll just go in order. This first one, Curse of the Wolf King, and this was the most recent of these books that I read, and, oh my gosh, I didn't even tell you the tiers. What am I doing? I need to tell you the tiers. Okay, so the first one we have at the top is It's a Broadway Smash. These are for books that I loved, and I would read again. And they hold a special place in my heart, if we're being honest. The next one is One for the Books. This is just it was a solid book. I probably wouldn't read it again, but I enjoyed myself. Maybe it was just missing that one little thing to put it at 10 out of 10. The next here is Go Girl, Give Us Nothing. These are for books that were there, but they weren't anything particularly special. They were okay. And then the final tier is To the Darkness. These are books I did not like. I'm banishing them. They are to the dungeon, to the darkness.
Throw her in the dungeon!
Anyways, those are the tiers. So let's get into the first one again. Sorry. So the first one, Curse of the Wolf King. This one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling about a character named Gemma who gets hired to work for a fey king who has been cursed. He actually is like a wolf all the time, but he's been cursed to be in a human body, so it's almost like reverse Beast in that way. The beginning of the book, I was kind of like, what am I getting into? The main character had definite not like the other girl syndrome, but then the second half of the book kind of had me giggling and kicking my feet a little bit. So we're gonna put it in One for the Books. You know, it's not a 10 out of 10 read, but I did enjoy it. Okay, so this next book is Cinder. It's the first book in the Lunar Chronicle series, which is actually my favorite series of all time. So you can guess probably where I'm going to put most of these in this series. But so you have Cinder. It's a Cinderella retelling. She's a cyborg in this, dystopia, futuristic world. It's kind of a dystopia. It's more just science fiction, I think. But people love to throw it in the dystopia category. And, has the classic thing. She meets the prince. He doesn't know she's a cyborg. She goes to the ball. She loses her cyborg foot, which is, I think, kind of funny. Instead of a slipper. And then there's like an evil queen who is technically from another fairy tale, but she's like the main antagonist. I loved this book. Actually, the first time I read it was in middle school, and I didn't really enjoy it. It kind of freaked me out, and I don't know why, but it kind of freaked me out. So I reread it in high school, and I was like, this is really good. And then I read the whole series. So, I'm gonna put this one, I'm gonna put it in Broadway Smash. The first book in the series, it was really solid. It made me read the rest of the series. I've read it 2 times already. It's Broadway Smash.
It's a Broadway smash!
Alright, next one. Scarlet. I already know. It's a Broadway Smash. It's one of my favorite books ever. One of my favorite books ever. I love it so much. I love it. This one's about Red Riding Hood, if you couldn't have guessed. Her grandma gets kidnapped by this gang of this is gonna sound crazy, but lunar people who are kind of like half wolf, that are like the army for the evil queen from the first book. So there's a little tie back. And the characters from the previous book in the series carry over into the next book for everyone. So Cinder's in this one also. It's one of my favorite books. The romance between the two main characters is like my favorite thing. It had me crying. I think if I read it again, it would have me crying again. So that one's definitely a Broadway smash. Cress. Cress is obviously the third book in the series. It's a Rapunzel retelling. So it's kind of about Cress, who, instead of being in a tower, she is locked on a space station. Her, like, mother Gothel is this, like, government official that works for the evil queen. So they're all connected. They're all connected. And she meets this guy named Thorn, which is so fitting if you know the original Rapunzel retelling. Not retelling, if you know the original Rapunzel story. But, yeah, he's like a smuggler, a space smuggler. They're really cute. I'd say it's one for the books. Well, except for I would reread it, but just because it's part of my favorite series. No, I'm gonna put it in one for the books, because it's really good. I love it. It's really good, but it's not quite at the level of these two up here. The next book, Winter, we're gonna put in Go Girl Give Us Nothing. And that's me kind of being nice. This one is a Snow White retelling, and the evil queen that has been in all of the books so far is Snow White's evil queen. And it's about Winter. She also lives on the moon. The queen lives on the moon. Did I just say that? I don't know. There's so much lore and world building. That's like a whole video in itself. But Winter is Snow White, and she is a lunar who doesn't use her powers, and it makes her go, like, insane. And she has her prince. He's not very memorable. Yeah, and I just thought maybe she was kind of a little bit annoying. But instead of being into the darkness, it's in Go Girl Give Us Nothing, because it's the conclusion of the series, and all the other characters are still involved in the book, and they get their, story conclusions in this one. So those parts I enjoyed, but the parts with, like, the main protagonist, Winter, I did not really enjoy. Alright, on to the last Lunar Chronicles book that I'm gonna rank here, Stars Above. This one is interesting because it's like a collection of short stories. It's got a few different things going on, but mainly I'm gonna focus on one of the short stories in particular because it's the only one that's, like, actually kind of a fairy tale retelling. The rest are just, like, more information about the other characters that we already know. That's not necessarily fairy tale related. They have a short story that's a Little Mermaid retelling. This Little Mermaid retelling is basically about a robot who saves, like, this mechanical engineer guy and kind of starts to fall in love with him. Obviously, you can see the mermaid human, robot human connection. I'd say it's one for the books. It did make me cry a little bit, obviously, because the tale of Little Mermaid is very sad. So, it did make me cry a little bit. But, I don't know, it's not like a 10 out of 10 story. And, like I said, the rest of the short stories in here are basically just little prequel bits or scenes from other perspectives from, like, the first books, which are cool, but, like, it's nothing terribly special. And then I'm not ranking the book Fairest that's in this series, because it's not really in the fairy tale retelling zone. It's just a prequel for the evil queen story. It was good. I enjoyed it. If it was on here, it'd probably be a Broadway smash, but it's not. At least I don't think it's technically any actual fairy tale. I could be wrong, though, so I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. But we're gonna move on. This next book is Wide Awake Princess. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of this, but I read it when I was in middle school. It's about the sister of Sleeping Beauty, who, on her birthday, was given the gift of being, like, immune to magic. And so when everyone falls asleep, when Sleeping Beauty goes under the curse, she is The Wide Awake Princess, wow. Groundbreaking. Groundbreaking title. Then she has to, like, you know, leave the castle and try to find a way to wake everyone up. Where would I put this? I would put it... I think I'd put it at 1 for the books. I don't know if I would reread it. I remember, though, there was something about it that I didn't quite like, but I know I overall enjoyed it. So, because it was so long ago, I can't exactly remember, so we're going to put it in 1 for the books. Next up is These Violent Delights. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling that takes place in, I think it's Shanghai? And Romeo and Juliet are, like, rival gang members. So it was a cool premise. I thought it was going to be really good. But I am very sorry for this to everyone who likes it. But it's going into the darkness. I did not enjoy this book at all. I tried to read it and I got so bored and I just couldn't read it. I had like forced myself to sit down and read it, and even that didn't work. So I ended up listening to it on an audiobook, and it gave me a headache. Gave me a headache listening to it. So I didn't finish it. So it's going into the darkness. I never want to pick up this book again. I'm not going to try it again. Apologies to everyone who loves this book, but it is not for me. I don't know what it was. It was just boring. I felt like nothing really happened. So, I'm sorry. Sorry to this man. But, it's banished.
No!
Next is Pride and Premeditation. This is not really a fairy tale. It's Pride and Prejudice. But I mean, I included These Violent Delights and Romeo and Juliet is not really a fairy tale either. But it's a retelling, so I think it's okay. This one, Elizabeth wants to be a lawyer. And so there's a crime happening on top of the usual Pride and Prejudice story. I'm gonna put it at... This is a tough one. I think it's 1 for the books. Oh, crap, put in the wrong thing. I think it's 1 for the books. I enjoyed it, but again, not necessarily a 10 out of 10. It was good, though. Next book, Spindles Splintered. Now, this one is about a chronically ill girl who is, like, not expected to live past her 21st birthday, and she gets sucked into the story of Sleeping Beauty. Now, the premise sounds really good, but when I picked it up and I started reading it, I did not really enjoy it. An insane amount of references, like pop culture. I don't know, it's like, she suffers from major not like the other girl syndrome, which, like, to an extent I understand, because, like, you have a chronic illness, obviously that automatically makes you not like everyone else, but I don't know, she, like, hates on Disney princesses in a way that it's like, they're so helpless and weak and awful. I don't know, I didn't really enjoy it, so it's going into the darkness. Alright, this next book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's part of a series about Fae and, like, this whole Fae world. You have our main character, Fair? I don't know. And this one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but instead of the Fae being turned into a beast, he has, like, a mask permanently glued to his face, so she can't see what he looks like. I would put this in Go Girl Give Us Nothing. It was okay. It was good. I mean, I read the rest of the series, so it couldn't have been terrible. Looking back on it now, there's not anything super special about the first book in the series. Then the second book of the series, A Court of Mist and Fury, is a Hades and Persephone retelling. So it's fair again, or however you pronounce it. But this time she has a romance with Recent? Something. Please don't kill me. All of those who love this series, please don't kill me for my pronunciation. But yeah, they have a romance blossoming. Just a little, like a love triangle for a little bit. I would put this one in It's a Broadway Smash. I think this is the best book out of the whole series, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Would I read it again? Maybe. Not now. But like, I could see myself sometime rereading this one. And that takes us to our final book, The Girl in Red. No, not the singer. This one is a Red Riding Hood retelling, but it takes place in like post-apocalyptic dystopia setting about this girl whose nickname is Red. She has to fight in this world where there's like this cough that is killing everyone, but there's also like a genetically altered parasite.
Very hungry, genetically modified caterpillar.
That is inhabiting people's lungs and then like exploding out of them.
7 nuclear missiles.
There's like a lot of world building, but at the same time there's not. Like they don't really explain anything. Which I guess is fine, because the main character's like, well, I guess I don't need to know everything, I just need to survive. And it's like, okay, but like, then it just makes the rest, a lot of stuff kind of confusing. But anyways, I'm gonna put it in Go Girl, Give Us Nothing. Again, the beginning was setting it up to be something really awesome, and I feel like we didn't get a good enough payoff for that. So that was my ranking of all of the fairy tale retellings that I've read. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun putting this list together. I hope that you guys have a Merry Christmas, or had a Merry Christmas, depending on when I get this video out. And I will see you guys next time.